everybody. I'm Maria.
I'm Max.
And we're confused
But excited
about
living off grid in
coastal Kenya.
right on the coast of Kenya. We got this land
About
a year ago
ago.
when we built this house, so please watch our series.
Now that we've moved in for about a month, we're really seeing the entire picture of living off grid, living by the beach.
And I mean, I would say, I think our theme this last month, or the phrase that keeps coming back to me, is like, small problems, big wonders.
I like that phrase.
There's just so many things that are so magical and great about what we've created and where we are, and
Absolutely.
people have been so kind and welcoming. People keep bringing us fish. It's been really nice. People come to say hello.
That small town vibe cannot be beat.
You made a seamstress friend who's gonna make
Yeah,
some clothing,
some
custom
clothes.
clothing.
Wow!
Hey, these are my pants.
We've got such a good pattern. The good.
The good. So other than community, the thing that's worked really well so far for us is
Solar power. It's been so amazing. You know,
Yeah.
yesterday I literally had a nightmare. And my nightmare was that the power was off.
Right.
It's only in nightmare
Yeah.
format.
One thing is that it's come a long way here in just 4 years.
Yes.
What's really interesting about this place is in the area we live, which is pretty kind of small and local, you even in the village here, you see like a lot of thatched huts and just like
Yeah.
small local living with solar panels. Everybody has
Like
a phone.
a small solar panel,
Yeah.
panel, at least for maybe lighting and charging your mobile phone.
Right.
So we are off the grid, but it's so cool to see the local community like embracing like this the latest edge
Yeah,
technologies,
yeah.
even in like a traditional life.
Kind of skipping over a lot of the really like
Yeah.
environmentally taxing technologies and sort of
Yeah.
jumping straight from traditional living into like the more sustainable modern thing, which is like a cool upshot
Like
of
we're
the
literally
rate of development.
using the sun.
It's so cool.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and I think for that reason, it's come a long way. Just even in the last 4 years that we've lived here, it was a lot easier to get a hold of a good system. We
Yes.
went through a big supplier this time, which is a little more expensive, but comparable to
Yeah.
what it would have been 5 years ago, like so much better,
So much more
more
difference.
affordable.
So the two biggest differences, actually three. So the solar panels themselves, the cost has dropped down a lot
Mhm.
and continues to drop down. It's actually amazing.
Efficiency's up too.
And the technology has changed, like monocrystalline, polycrystalline, something, so they're more efficient as well as cheaper. So it's like
Yeah.
double whammy. And secondly, the batteries have completely changed from the old type of battery, which used like the liquid, like the car battery,
Right.
lead acid batteries, to lithium ion batteries
Mhm.
that hold store much longer. They're rated for like 10 years instead of 2.
Yeah.
So completely a game changer in terms of like the storage capacity.
Mhm.
And the third thing is inverters are so smart now, and they're like
Yeah.
kind of computerized. There's a digital display so we can know exactly what load we're using.
Mhm. You can see what percentage of the recommended load you're
Yeah.
using. So if you plug in like a power saw or something that
Yeah.
you're worried, or a kettle, something that you're worried will be taxing,
Yeah.
you can gauge exactly how much it is, whether it's safe,
Yeah.
whether the voltage it's rated on the device itself is accurate,
It's crazy.
and also how much like load or how much supply you have left in your store for the rest of the day. So
Yeah.
they've really come a long way, and it's really impressive.
I'm so happy, and that was kind of the key thing that we needed to make this like off-grid living sustainable.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad it's working so well.
The things that we're not running through it right now
Yeah.
are like water heater and AC, both of which we don't really need.
Yeah.
A lot of like moving here and being right next to the coast, like the upshot of it was like we'll get a lot of wind, it'll be cool, the temperature will be more controlled. And we also built the house the way everything is positioned, the way the roof is set up with that in mind, and it
Right.
really works. Like we're
Yeah.
really happy to say it stays cool, it's temperature controlled, we get a nice breeze, a little fan now and then is really all that's needed.
It
So
really
that's
is.
really cool. So it's like using the technology and kind of the environment together to create the best of both worlds. Really. Ready?
The bad. The water situation.
Yeah, that's been
So can you give us a quick overview of our water setup. What
Yeah.
kind of sources do we have?
We're on the coast. We have a borehole. The borehole is very salty because it's so close to the ocean. We weren't sure that was going to be the case when we drilled it because even, pretty close to the water there are, if you get lucky or if you go inside of the range of fresh water, you can get a freshwater borehole
Yeah.
nearby. We didn't.
We didn't.
We also set up gutters all around our metal roof,
Big
our
ass
mabati
roof.
So we collect a lot of rainwater. So in the rainy period, which was the first month we were here, we had enough fresh water just from rain for the whole month.
Abundant.
Abundant. Showering.
In fact, our tanks are just not enough.
Yeah, our
Like-
tanks. We have we have two 1,500 liter tanks, a couple 1,000-liter tanks up there. We have now since gotten less rain, and there's been a few issues.
Yeah.
One of which is that the solar pump for the saltwater
Yes.
borehole.
Yeah.
The sand here is so fine and
Mhm.
ground by being right by the ocean. The same reason you can't really build with it. That it literally gets through the filter and clogs it up. So every couple of weeks we have to take it out and
Yeah.
put it in a bucket and run a bunch of water through it to clean it out.
Right.
So that's a thing.
That's been a challenge, and we are using the salt water, which is why it's important that the solar pump for the salt water still runs. We still use the salt water for like every day, obviously for flushing the toilets, sometimes even showering
Mhm.
and washing clothes, because sometimes it's just the only water we have and we just have
Yeah.
to deal with it.
And it sets us up. It works okay.
It
for
works okay for that. Probably over the long term, like there's a lot of minerals that will
that. Mhm.
kind of, the water is a bit harder, so it uses a little bit more soap,
Yeah.
but it's fine. That's why it was so disappointing when the pump was breaking down. But after a couple of times of calling the repair person out, which is an hour away from the town, remember,
Yeah.
we learned how to do it ourselves.
Yeah. We're learning a lot more about plumbing and
Yeah.
wiring things and setting up piping systems than we thought we would. The other thing is in one of our previous videos, I made a small passive solar desalinator,
Mhm.
and that works okay, but the volume is so
Yeah.
small that in order to transfer it to something that would be of practical use here, I'd have to build a much bigger one. And I have an idea of how that might be possible. There's actually been a lot of new research about different wavelengths. Apparently green LED lights
Mhm.
are able to create more like passive evaporation. There's actually some new science there, which I'll try to link a video. There's options like that, but I think those are just more projects down the road that we're going to have to start looking
Yeah,
at.
and the primary thing we need fresh water for is our plants.
Yep.
So we still continue to seek fresh water. One time we had a water truck come up, but it's very difficult for a big water truck with 10,000 liters of water, which is 10,000 kilos of weight,
Yeah, right.
to come up the hills on the way to our remote piece of land.
Yeah.
So that's not a very comfortable, sustainable long-term option.
Also,
We
they
also
couldn't.
have had
Yeah, we're going to have to run more pipes there for the
Yeah.
water truck because the hose wasn't long enough, and then the bozos got impatient because it was taking too long
Yeah.
and tried to leave halfway through, even though we'd
So
already paid
that's-
them, and then they
yeah.
had to dig themselves out of the hole, and they
Yeah.
stole our shovels, so it's
Yep.
the whole thing.
so that it's not very sustainable. Well,
Yeah.
the other solution we've had is there are local boreholes or wells down the way a bit, and we've had some of the local village mamas fetch some water for us at a price which is more expensive than ideal, but at least allows us to keep our fledgling garden
Mhm.
watered.
Once again, community coming in clutch.
Coming in
That's so
clutch.
far been the best
Yeah.
alternative to having enough, having a desal or having enough rainwater on the dry season. So
And then I think I'd like for you to elaborate on a quote that I heard from you the other day, Max.
mhm.
We'll just let the plants that can't hack it die. Can you say more?
Well, I don't know if I have the heart for that, but I
But
think
in a way, yes.
to a degree, this gardening thing is new to us, and we're also just going to have to experiment and see what lives. And part of that is
Yes.
going to be that
That's
fresh
just
water won't always be
Accepting
available.
our local environment. For example, something that is flourishing
Yeah.
here is watermelon.
Yeah, that's been so cool. We have a
Yeah.
huge, big, and we didn't even plant it on purpose. A bunch of
Yeah.
watermelon seeds ended up in our compost because we eat a
compost.
lot of watermelon.
Yeah.
And those suckers just started growing on their own, and
Yeah.
they're doing better than any of the other things we've planted on purpose.
Yeah.
So
So I think going with plants that like this
Yeah.
environment, I don't mind the salt. In fact, some salt is good because it has minerals.
yeah.
Too much salt, like some plants can't hack it, and I
it
think
just depends.
we
on
just
the
have to
plant.
accept and live
Yeah.
with nature rather than against nature.
But if I could choose any weed, it would be watermelon.
Right?
So-
It's crazy. It's like it's a watermelon out of nowhere.
They grow out of the sand. It's so hot and dry, and yet
Yeah.
they've collected all the water from all around the dirt. It's very sweet. I love it.
So it's bad, but not that bad.
Not that bad. We're working on it. Bump, bump, boom.
They are going.
Actually, I think it's kind of cute, but the
ugly.
jury's still out on that.
So in
Bats.
our ugly cat. So in our ugly category.
Bats. We're confused, bat excited. Confused, bat excited.
So we're facing a
Bats.
bat problem. The background is that a lot of this was
Bats.
thickets. A lot of the ground that we cleared for building was thicket, and I think bats used to live in there. And then once we built our roof, they kind of took up residence in the small space between the iron sheets, the mabati, and the woven mat that is kind of like our decorative ceiling.
Yeah, the roofers. We were really emphasizing that they patch up all the little holes. They didn't.
They didn't.
It's
Yeah.
interesting because we can hear the bats chittering.
Yep.
They make like a little high pitched bat sound. So we actually listened for where they were, and we followed the droppings,
Yeah.
which there's been a few
Been a
instances
lot.
of around the house, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Because that's not sanitary. It's
Yeah.
not. It's not very safe. We just I think they're kind of adorable. They're really small. They're like local fruit bats, so they're not
One is
harmful.
adorable. Like I gotta admit, like a single bat is very cute.
The other problem is they were roosting above the pool,
swimming
so
pool?
we didn't want to swim in the pool if there was any kind of unsanitary thing like that. So we drained the pool. We actually used it for watering the plants, which
Yeah.
was some extra fresh water
Yeah.
or mildly salty
Yeah.
water. And then we have started working on removing them.
So here are the things that we've tried. Who are you gonna call? Who are you gonna call? So one, we tried putting some fishing lines up, and
Yeah.
what's supposed to be the idea?
So the
behind that?
idea, it's not like a screen, but because bats actually apparently do, or many types of bats apparently do have pretty good eyesight. It's
Mhm.
just that they're active and they hunt at night, as the stereotype would suggest. So they rely on both echolocation and vision. So having, I think it's that the fishing line, they can sense it, but they can't see it maybe, so it confuses them.
They
So
don't like
it's
it.
just a deterrent.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I think is really kind of a cool.
So that's
idea.
something we've been told, and a lot of people in the area have that kind of solution.
Yeah,
Putting like fishing lines in their flight path,
Yeah,
essentially, to
yeah.
deter them.
and that's
The
been
other thing-
somewhat mildly
Yeah,
effective.
mildly
Yeah,
effective.
mild deterrent.
The other thing is we've been doing is launching Ghostbusters like fight
Campaign.
against them.
Yeah.
So we've tried a few different mixtures. We've tried disinfectant. We've tried like a local thing that the agrovet
Mhm.
recommended to us. The one thing we're yet to try is ammonia, which we've been told is also good for getting
Yeah.
them out. But so far, it deters them for a bit, and then when it dries out, they kind of come back.
Yeah, we don't want to poison them because poor bats, and
Poor
also
bats, and also they'll die in
they'll
there.
die in there and it will be smelling it. It'll be awful.
Yeah.
So those are the things we've tried.
Yeah, and now what we're currently trying is that while the chemicals are keeping them out, we try to plug up all the holes.
We've been using expanding insulating foam
Yeah.
to
Mhm.
block some of the holes
Yeah.
that we've been able to find just kind of through tracking where they are.
Yeah.
by the feces and by the sound.
The problem is that, like rats, they can go in a space this small.
Yeah, you
And
wouldn't think, right?
their entrance is like 5 meters up, so it's a little bit
Yeah.
hard to get up there and see exactly where the holes are.
Yeah.
But they've not reduced. It's a really hard battle that we're fighting.
It's an ongoing issue, and
Yeah.
that's our main priority now to
Yeah.
take care of that situation, just for all those reasons. But as we
Overall,
said earlier, big wonders, small problems, big wonders.
yeah, this is the place of big, wonderful wonders.
Yeah.
And small problems.
And the wildlife is really cool. We've been getting a lot of amazing fish, crabs, lobster, shrimp from the local people. We got a huge eel. We got like
Max
a couple
cooks
of
it up
rays.
and I
I've
eat
been
it up.
learning how to cut it, really fillet it really nice. Our birds are sweet. We got geckos that take care of the insects. We don't have any mosquitoes because we're close to the water and it's windy.
Yeah.
Our goats and chickens and dog, very happy. And we have little crabs. Yesterday, Flower got into a fight with a little tiny crab.
That was
about
so
this
sweet.
big, and it was like, Duke's up! Get him! Get him! Get him! Get him!
Flower.
Very sweet. So that's it for now.
That's it
Those
for
are kind of
now.
what we're doing at the moment.
Please, let us know if you have any ideas, or if you faced any of these problems, or if you have any suggestions, or you want to know about any of these particular things,
Yeah.
and we'll do our best to reply and accommodate.
Yeah, let us know what you want us to talk about next and what you want to see.
Yeah.
And thank you guys for sticking around. We appreciate you. If you made it to this point in the video, you're awesome. Thank
Comment
you.
a bat emoji.
Yeah, right?
So we know.
So
Everyone else is confused.
Yeah. Love it.
All right. Love you guys. Bye bye.
Yeah, take care.
Okay, if you don't find something to use from that, I can't help you.